So the big month is upon us, which is the month that, Saturn will enter into Pisces. I've already made a video about this, explaining how, Saturn's movement into Pisces will demand you to prepare for the next cycle. If you didn't catch that video, I'll link it below, right? But for the month of March, before Saturn enters on the 29th, there will also be a lot of things happening. And of course, for us, we are keeping it on the context of relationships so that we can stay on the theme of our channel, right? But some of the things, of course, you can apply them in your personal life, such as work and all of that, right? But then that's not my focus. My focus is relationships, right? So, but then before we get into March, it is very important to focus on the last week of February, because you are going to need to tie things up before you get into March. Let's go deeper. Of course, I'm making this video today when Moon is transiting Scorpio, because this is where my other stellium is. When it comes to my planets, and my Moon is in Scorpio, as most of you know. It's debilitated, so to speak. Right? But when we talk about debilitations, particularly in Scorpio, right, people expect you to be depressed, to be all of those things, right? But for me, it's the other way around, because my Moon is conjunct also with Saturn in the stellium. So Saturn restricts, when it comes to the emotional expression. So when it comes to depression, I never felt it like the way people are supposed to feel it, according to astrology. When it comes to Moon in Scorpio, Saturn with Moon in Scorpio, like in malefic signs, it does help. It actually does the opposite. It makes you stronger. It makes you resilient. It makes you not respond quickly to emotional outbursts. So it kind of like calms your emotions down. It makes your emotions be leveled, because Saturn, is a bigger planet, and Moon moves fast, but then Saturn says calm down. So if somebody tries to test you, or they try to say something that would make another person react emotionally, with an outburst, for me, because of the conjunction of Saturn and Moon in Scorpio, I don't react quickly. Thanks to Saturn, right? Thanks to the planet Saturn. So it's the same with the notion of depressions and all of those things. It actually just makes me want to work. I just want to work, and I just want to do more research and stuff, instead of taking the popular belief of what a Moon in Scorpio does. So again, this just comes to express what I always tell you guys, that you need to know every aspect in a chart. How is it reacting? Which planet is it with? Which aspects is it receiving from other planets? Which position is it in? So all those things are very important, as well as the degrees, because the degrees are speaking to the nakshatras. So all of these things become very important into making you have a certain behavior, have a certain reaction. So it is very important to not just have one idea of a behavior or a sign, and then you just think everybody that has that sign will act the same way. It's not true. And I'm sorry for my voice. I have to say it all the time, right? So it's gonna be a long video, so my voice is gonna go up and down as usual. But let's do this. So why is it important to look at the last week of February? It is because Saturn is still in Aquarius at this time. Saturn will also be in Aquarius for the first 3 weeks of March. Now, what happens with Saturn is that in Aquarius, he's like in his office, whereby he's finalizing paperwork. He's putting signatures on the very important transactions that need to be done. Putting signatures on the documents that need to be sent, that need to go out, and finalizing accounts and all of that. This is how Saturn operates in Aquarius, like finalizing the work. Because in Capricorn, Saturn would be doing the hard work, the dirty work, like plumbing, like digging for gold, doing all the dirty work, with wearing overalls, wearing certain clothes that are protective, like doing chemical work, going out, meeting politicians, canvassing for votes and all of that. So this is what Saturn does in Capricorn. And then when it moves to Aquarius, which it's been in and it's gonna move out very soon, then here it becomes more like finalizing the connections that it's made, talking to important people, doing transactions, paying salaries to certain people, giving promotion to other people that deserve it, who did the work, making reminders of communication to certain people. So now, with this last week of February, particularly, right, we're preparing because the Sun is also still in Aquarius and is also going to move into this sign of Pisces, which is going to do great things for a lot of people, right? So in Aquarius is a karmic sign, as we all know. Aquarius and Scorpio, they're very karmic signs. So when certain planets or big planets are placed in Scorpio and Aquarius, there's a lot of karmic work that many people experience or that many people have to do. Lots of karmic changes that many people are exposed to at this time, right? So Sun is here, and Sun in Aquarius is obviously not comfortable because it's in the opposite sign, right? But Sun brings light to certain things. Sun brings vibrancy. Sun brings that nudge to say you need to fix here I'm shining the light in the particular parts that need to be fixed in your life. And having Mercury here, of course, it also brings out that not only are you going to bring a light into what needs to be done, but you need to communicate those things. You need to communicate to certain people what you've discovered. You need to send some certain documentations to people to sign up to do everything, right? But now the 27th and the 28th of February are going to be critical in this finalization of Saturn in Aquarius, because Moon will also be here. Of course, Moon and Saturn are enemies. Okay, Saturn considers Moon as an enemy, but Moon is neutral. But when Moon comes here, of course, a lot of people would be feeling a bit, workaholic, push to work hard, or push to think hard, or push to and those who tend to have some sort of stressful situations, they can't be overthinkers at this time, because there's Mercury thinking, right? And it's an S sign, so it's all about intelligence. So a lot of people on the 27th and 28th could be overthinking stuff, and some people could be even over expressing themselves, in terms of, even if they want to say something in a logical way, in an intellectual way, it could come out as an outburst, because emotions as well, Moon, right? Let me have a drink, because my voice is going away. I can feel it. And by drink, I mean hot water, because I think hot water helps. I like, home remedies, having my Saturn and Moon and other planets in my 6th house. I'm always about home remedies, trying to find, traditional means of helping the body. Speaking of traditional means of helping the body, I do have my book, The Dragon Astro Yoga, a book which is a Synastry Expert Rebirth Almanac, really, because it is, I designed it and I wrote it for you to help you heal yourself. It's a self-help book. This is not a book that you read and you just gather information and then you just put it out there for decoration and you forget about it. No, this is a working book. This is a book that you work in. You will work in this book, okay? You are going to in the first chapter, for example, you will place your chart details. You will place your chart details, and then I show you how to then collaborate your chart into a story that gives you closure in your life. But there are so many activities that I have placed here, and lots of the activities that I've placed in this book are not they are uniquely designed for this book. It's not something that you will find on Google, that's for sure. It's not something that you will find on books, that's for sure, because I have used a certain method based on my research and as well as practical application. So this is, I really put in all the thought for this book, and how it can help you, and how it will help you actually, and be practical, because I like practicality. And of course, it's something that you can revisit on a monthly basis, but I've also designed it so that you can revisit, and you should revisit it every single year, because I have also given you a yearly plan based on each ascendant. Guys, when I say I thought about you, I really thought about you. So check out this book on Amazon, and it will be available everywhere very soon, so that you can be able to purchase it from a store of your choice, such as Target for those in the US, because I have lots of love lovers from the US. And so but for now it's still on Amazon, and you get it as well, right? So now the last week of still talking about the last week of February, this is when the Mercury is preparing to move into Pisces. So Mercury here is going to be the first one to move into Pisces, leaving behind Saturn and Sun. Now remember, Saturn and Sun are normally enemies, right? But when Saturn and Sun are together, they can also make you work and do and achieve so much in your life. Okay, the achievement or the way to get to the achievement will not be easy because of the internal conflicts that you will have, right? Whereby there need to be out there, bossy and all of that, is fighting the need to also serve other people and everything, right? As we know, Saturn is all about serving other people, while Sun is all about serving me, right? But when Sun comes into Aquarius, he's forced to work for other people. So here in this last week of February, you need to really make sure that whatever you do is not serving only you, but it's also serving the relationships around you, because Saturn in Aquarius is about serving people around it. And Sun, when it's in Aquarius, it is forced to take down the crown and put it on the floor and serve other people. So this month basically of February has been very critical in showing you that whatever you do also for other people around you in your relationships. So okay, now we're done. Let's move into much. So there is a way to read or to listen to this guide, because I call it a guide, this much horoscope, right? All right, so for the people who are married or who are in a relationship, please read it from your moon sign. Do not read it from your ascendant sign unless you feel like, okay, maybe it resonates. But from the moon sign, married and in a relationship already, you are married, you are in a relationship already, read it from the moon sign. Why? Because as I've already explained to you guys last year, that when it comes to relationship horoscopes, it makes it weird. I mean, to give generalized predictions. Because why? If your ascendant is in Libra and then your husband's ascendant is in Aries, and then I tell you a prediction, a generalized prediction that, oh my God, you as a Libra, you're going to have a good marriage, you're going to have a good relationship, right? But in the same video, I then say, oh, you Aries, you're going to have a horrible marriage, you're going to have a terrible time, you're going to break up, right? But then you guys are in marriage, right? So are you going to break up, or are you going to have a good time based on your Libra, or are you going to break up based on his Aries ascendant? So this is why it makes it weird. So on the ascendant perspective, because ascendant is what we experience externally, these are the things we experience physically on our body. But then when you read it from the moon chart, it makes it possible that you emotionally, you could be feeling happy, you could be feeling inspired as a Libra, whereas your husband emotionally and mentally is feeling exhausted, is thinking to himself, oh, I want to break up, I want to divorce, right? But it's not something that is happening physically, but it's something that is happening mentally, internally in you guys, right? Because so then it makes it practical, it makes it realistic, right? The prediction, because you can experience internally two different things even if you are married, right? Then when it comes to couples, married relationship, you can also read it from now an ascendant sign, but using your composite chart, because a composite chart, it represents one chart of you couple as if you were one person. So this is the things that you experience physically in your relationship as a couple. So in this instant, you can read it from an ascendant, but using your composite chart. But as an individual, use your moon chart. And now, finally, for my single lovers, you can read it from either way, but mostly ascendant. Definitely ascendant chart. And then if you want to add some zust, then you can add your moon chart. But if you are single, please read it from your ascendant chart. Right, so yeah, that is the practical method of how to read this guide today, right? So now I will divide the signs, because when I talk about the signs, I'm going to be making brief remarks, not really detailed remarks, because I would have explained so much, and the video is going to be long already. So I'm going to group people like in signs, right? So when it comes to March, a Gemini and Sagittarius, whatever you are already experiencing in your relationships or regarding relationships is going to continue throughout the month of March, right? And just up until the 29th, as for everyone, just up until the 29th of March, because on the 29th of March, things that are happening will get a shock, will get a halt, and will get limitations, because Saturn will get into the Pisces sign on the 29th and say, hold on, wait everyone, I'm here now, right? But up until the 29th, Gemini, Sagittarius, whatever you're already experiencing in your relationship is likely to just continue. No big changes for you, right? So due to the Mars that is in Gemini currently, if you're already having fights or misunderstandings in your relationship, and maybe outbursts, or maybe you're working too hard, you don't even have time to give to your relationship at this time, right, due to the Mars in Gemini, then it's highly likely to continue right until the 29th of March. And of course, as I always say, things give time, so don't hurry things, don't want to change things abruptly, because remember, Mars is about passion and impulsiveness. So you've been having impulsive urges, towards doing things, either communication, your work, even transportation, even commuting from one place. You just decide, oh my gosh, okay, I need to go to this place right now, let me just go. So these things will continue, and particularly because Mars in Gemini is going forward, because it's been retrograde. So on the 24th of February it's going forward, and so things will just kind of like continue, but now in a more direct way. So maybe you've been holding back most of the informations, because that's what retrogression also does. It can also makes you eat your words up too much. So now you can maybe show the outburst in a more visible way. So that's likely to happen for you in your relationships, right? And then when it comes to Aries, Libra, Taurus, and Scorpio signs, so what's happening here, there will be a lot of changes in your dating life. So a lot of changes regarding your intimacy, a lot of changes regarding your romantic life, and particularly for those who are still wanting to date or who are looking as single and looking. Definitely lots of developments will be there in your dating life, in your romantic life for you. And if you are married, remember, if you're married, you're looking at from a composite chart or a moon chart, then you're going to have development, obviously, in terms of how you think, in terms of your expressions, and not necessarily the physical experiences, right? And then when it comes to the Leo, Aquarius, Cancer, and Capricorn, here there would be changes or developments if you are married and if you are in a serious relationships, right? So Aries, Libra, Taurus, Scorpio is if you are dating, if you are single, or if you are in a relationship, then it's gonna be in moon chart or composite. And then if you are Leo, Aquarius, Cancer, Capricorn, then it's gonna be in a physical form, from the composite chart aspect or moon chart from that perspective, right? And lastly, Virgo, Pisces. Here, if you are mostly in a relationship or trying to get into a commitment, then most of the things are going to be seen for you. Why am I doing like this? And I hope I'm not losing you guys, but let me make it clearer and more visual in terms of how you see it, right? Gemini and Sagittarius, you having the first and the seventh aspect in terms of Mars, but in terms of Pisces sign, it's only your 4th house and your 10th house that are affected, which are not necessarily impacting your 7th house issues, your relationship. So hence I say whatever you're experiencing will go on until the 29th. And then when it comes to Aries, Libra, Taurus, Scorpio signs, you guys are having your houses which are focusing on light dating, light intimacy, such as your 5th house, such as your 11th house. You're having those houses being affected right now. So of course, if you are an Aries, you're going to have your get to always trying to retrograde into your 5th house, because Rahu is in Pisces. But as we know, with retrogression, we're going to have Mercury and Venus also having a retrogression, and retrogression affects also the house or the sign or the planet before it. Okay, that's what retrogression does. So for you, Aries, for example, right, you're going to have this stellium in Pisces in the 12th house, but your 11th house will always have the impact of these retrograding planets, such as Venus for relationships, Mercury, which is communication in your relationship, and Rahu, which is desires in your relationships, is affecting your 11th house. But Ketu is lingering in the 5th house because that's where it's going. So it's also giving its energy towards your 5th house. Yes, it's not there physically, but it's giving the energy, right? So this is how I'm looking at it, right? And then when it comes to Leo, Aquarius, Cancer, then your 8th house here and your 7th house will have, some impact. And then finally, when it comes to Virgo, your 7th house and your 1st house. So this is how we're reading it. So as you can see, according to each group, it depends of which group you fall into that you will experience this vibe, right? Obviously, those whose 1st house, 7th house, 8th house, 2nd house are affected will feel it more than all the other signs. So now let's have a visual look of what will be happening in the month of March. In the month of March, we are going to have Mercury, Neptune, Rahu, Moon for the first 2 days and the 3 last days of March in Pisces, Venus in Pisces, and Chiron in Pisces, right? So we're going to have Saturn coming in at the end of the month, on the 29th, but we're also going to have Sun come in on the 15th. So in this Pisces sign, we're going to have for 5 days, because I'm also counting the moon when the moon is here. So for 5 whole days, we're going to have 8 planets in the sign of Pisces. And then for the other weeks, we're going to have some changes, because this 2 weeks, the last weeks of this March, the first 2 weeks of this March, we're going to also have retrogration starting. On the 2nd, we're going to have Venus starting its retrogration, which is a huge thing. On the 3rd, which is a huge thing for our channel, because that's relationships, right? And then on the 15th, we're going to have Sun come in and Mercury going straight, taking a stationary position. And then on the 16th, Mercury starts to go retrograde, right? So we're going to have Uranus getting into Taurus, joining Jupiter here. And then on the 29th, as I said, Moon is coming back into the Pisces sign. 29th, also Saturn is coming into the Pisces sign. So many things, right? However, we also have Mars always in Gemini, and Mars with its aspect is going to be impacted or touching, some of the key points in this horoscope of March, right? Because, for the 4th one, for example, Mars is looking at the Virgo sign, and the Virgo sign is going to be experiencing a lot of the 7th aspect from the 12th, from the Pisces sign. So it makes it very critical for the Virgo sign this month of March, more than everybody else, because it's receiving all of that 7th aspect from all these 8 planets, and then also the 9th planet being Mars, going with its 4th aspect to the Virgo sign, right? And particularly you already have the Ketu on your ascendant. So with the Virgo sign is like a number 1 in terms of experiencing this March month when it comes to all the karmic duties and karmic flows and karmic energies and karmic vibes that these planets have and are bringing into this Pisces sign, because of also the Mars energy, right? But at the same time, Virgo sign is receiving the 5th aspect of Jupiter, So meaning that whatever is going to be happening or you going to be experiencing as a Virgo sign at this time, you will also be receiving some lessons. Jupiter is going to be reminding you that yes, these things are happening to you. Yes, you're feeling these things, but it is for your lesson. It is to make you learn. It is to encourage you. It is to push you. It is to motivate you. It is to make you more of a stronger, wiser person, right? So Virgo, you are really going to be like the first person out of all the 12 signs that is going to be experiencing more of these things more than the rest of the people, right? And then the second one is obviously going to be the Pisces, because it's going to be happening on you physically, on your body, right? But then you don't necessarily, you only have the sextile from the Jupiter, which is not forming part of Jupiter's traditional aspects. And with Mars as well, you're receiving, the 10th aspect, which is not the traditional. Mars is just going to be is going to be exalted in you. So you're going to have whatever Mars is giving, it's going to be done in the highest form, right? But of course, Mars is not necessarily focusing on the 10th aspect. It just enjoys it when it gets to it, right? It pushes, makes you do things impulsively, makes the energy, the drive to be higher, and taking shortcuts. So as a Pisces sign, of course, be careful in your relationships and how you do it, because you're gonna feel amped up, particularly with those planets on you. You're really gonna be feeling amped up, So these two signs, are like really impacted. And then, as we can see going down the line up until the ones who are feeling it less, right? When it comes to relationships that we talk about, of course, and remember, when it comes to relationship, each house of the 12 houses represents a certain person in your life. And in my book, I do explain to you with each house which person is represented and kind of like expected in terms of relationships, right? So now when it comes to the theme of March when it comes to relationships that I give is complex love and connections. That is our theme that we're going to experience in March. We're going to experience complex love and connections. We're going to experience some complex emotions that are difficult to explain. We're going to experience mysterious things whereby you just meet somebody, and this person, they feel like you've met them before. Those mysterious themes are going to play a whole lot in March. We're going to experience a lust that we can't explain where it's coming from. We're going to experience disappointments that we don't know how we got to get them. We're going to experience high and unrealistic expectations that when we look back, when on the 29th, when Saturn comes in here, we're going to be like, what was I thinking, right? So there will be a lot of complex things, not complications, but complex in terms of emotions, in terms of love, in terms of expectations, in terms of lust, romance. All of these mysteries are going to be experienced in the month of March. So March becomes mysterious, right? So now when we look at Venus, as I said, Venus is going to be going retrograde. So when it's going to be going retrograde, what Venus is going to make us experience is lots of encounters that are mysterious, as I said, like whereby you feel differently than usual. You meet somebody, maybe commuting, and then you feel like, oh my gosh, there's something I'm feeling towards this person, but I can't explain it. There's a vibe I'm getting, but I can't explain it. I can't put my words into it, And there will be a lot of duality as well, between searching for pleasure and also searching for spirituality, for being alone, for retreating to yourself, right? Because of the retrogression. And at the same time, many of us are going to experience lots of intense passion, whereby you feel like you want to throw yourself into a relationship, or you want to throw yourself into an activity, because there's also Rahu here, which is heightening the lust, heightening the need to do forbidden things. Because remember, in the Pisces sign, the 12th sign, a lot of stuff is hidden. So there could be lots of temptations as well in this month of March when it comes to relationships, whereby a lot of people enter into unconventional relationships at this time. But these unconventional relationships will also be transformative and emotionally and deep as well, because of the Pisces energy. Because of the Pisces energy, and we're receiving as well a third aspect from Pluto, which is a sextile, bringing up all those transformative themes, right? There will be a lot of cheating, of course, because Mercury, Rahu, and Venus all going retrograde together. They're just going to make a mess, right? Or with some people, their relationships could be long distance at this time, whereby your partner has to travel for work and they go to another state, to another region, for whatever, work, family, whatever, right? But then that is also another theme for people who don't cheat, but long distance could be there. But something unconventional in your relationship will be experienced at this time. So the unconventionality, of course, depends on your ascendant and on your chart, right? For some people, unconventional means cheating. For some people, unconventional could be a long distance, as I just said, whereby you are used to being together and now you have to experience long distance, and some people, there could be sudden undoing or sudden breakups, whereby people suddenly, like from the 3rd of March, a lot of people will suddenly feel like, I don't want to be in a relationship with this person anymore, or I want to go back to my ex. We're going to see a lot of people coming back to their ex-boyfriends, ex-wives, ex-people coming back into the picture now at this time. But as I said, lots of breakups as well. I need to drink some water because my voice is leaving. So what also is highly likely to happen is, being unsure if your partner is loyal, or being unsure if you want to be loyal. There will be a lot of unpredictability as well, whereby you'd be thinking something inside, like being introspective, but all of a sudden you want to put it into action. And of course, it's going to be great for creative people this month, because all of that Pisces energy, Venus, Mercury, all of that, doing all of these things in a Pisces sign of creativity is just going to be amazing, right? Literally amazing, right? But there will be also a lot of obsession when it comes to relationships. Obsession, stalking. Oh my gosh, the stalking this month is going to be high, because Venus in a retrograde motion does not love normally. It loves obsessively. It brings out all the intensity of Scorpio sign, as if it, manipulative in love as well, particularly with Mercury also retrograde, unable to think, in a normal way. So stalking, obsession, or obsessive love situations, whereby people, they want to attach themselves into intoxicating love situations, or even toxic love situations, right? And the person like that you meet now, if you are single, the person that you meet now, is somebody that would be of a desire instead of, a long-term commitment, right? Unless you meet them obviously after the 29th of March. But before March, so from the 3rd of March until the 29th or 28th of March, the person that you meet at this time will be somebody who's a desire, who's here to fulfill your desire. And those who are prone to having third parties, so it will be a matter of, just fulfilling a desire that you have, of how, wanting to know how it feels like to have somebody else whilst you're with somebody else. And for the single person, it will be somebody that is like, that you find hot, or that you find luring, right? So it will be more of a physical desire or pleasure based, right? So there will be tendencies also to have foreign love, like relationships, a lot of, foreign people or exotic people at this time. And, for some people, it could be somebody who's much older or much younger, something controversial is going to be experienced in love with a lot of people this time. And of course, manipulation, lots of manipulation, lots of, being easily deceptive, and also be lied to, manipulated, because Neptune is also here. Neptune with Mercury brings out deception, lies, and Neptune with Venus brings out, covering of who you are. So you can't really see people for who they really are at this time. And there'll be lots of fear to commit up until the 29th of March. So a lot of people will be hesitant to commit, will just choose, to fulfill their desires, their pleasures. They are immediate pleasures when it comes to love and relationships. So yeah, just be careful about this. So let me just drink water, sorry. There will be higher romantic gestures at this time as well, because Venus in Pisces gets exalted, so it means that it's able to show its romantic side to the maximum as well. So lots of romantic situations will also be experienced, lots of romantic getaways, whereby your partner becomes extremely romantic than usual at this time, right? So that could be seen, but there will be lots of misunderstandings as well. So maybe when your partner tries to be romantic to you and you just find it weird, like a lot of people were talking about Benny Blanco putting cheese in the bathtub or something like that, right? So there would be lots of situations like this whereby the romance is misunderstood, but these are gestures that are romantic, and the partner is trying so hard, but the message gets lost, or the intention gets lost or misunderstood. Okay, there will be obviously reckless spending as well. Maybe some people buying their partners some gifts, or giving gifts, or doing some things for your partners, but like expensive stuff, because Venus in Pisces becomes very expensive. It likes expensive things, right? And of course there will be lots of people buying shoes for their partners as well at this time, because Pisces represents feet, and some people will be walking, taking walks and all of that with their people, and they should be taking walks at this time because Mercury is here. So this would be one of the nice things that you could do, and buying shoes for each other. Right, so reckless spending is expected here until the 29th of March. Of course, when Saturn comes in, there will be high indecisiveness, that's for sure, because when Mercury is retrograde, it's difficult for people to decide properly and on time. So the communication in relationships would be lost, would be overly romantic. Things would just be weird. As I said, the theme is complex here, is complexity when it comes to March in relationships. And also, controversial communication would be high, whereby, people in your life are saying things, but these things become controversial, right? What else? As I said, obviously communication barriers would be there. But another thing that is going to be experienced is paranoia. Lots of paranoia in terms of relationships, whereby you feel like, oh my gosh, my partner is cheating on me. Oh my gosh, my partner is withholding themselves, he's being distant. What is going on here, right? So this retrogression that we're going to experience here with these things is going to show us all these themes, right? But now, very important, when Sun comes in here on the 15th of March, things will be different and huge, because Sun, when it comes in, it's going to expose all these shady things that have been happening in the first 2 weeks. So for people who have been feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I should commit or not, at this time you might find an answer. Okay, maybe I should, but then you have to wait until the retrogression is backwards, particularly when it comes to Mercury and Venus in terms of relationships, right? And for some people, they could find out some secrets in their relationships now when Sun comes in, like, oh my gosh, my partner is really like this. Because now when Sun comes in, it takes down the energy of Neptune. It takes down the energy of, the manipulation that Neptune would be putting in, particularly because there's also Chiron here, which is wounding. Oh gosh, it's just a messy month. There's also Chiron here. So when Sun comes in, it wants to heal. It wants to shine light into the truth. It wants to reveal secrets. And it will do that. That's what Sun will do. It will do that because it's not inhibited in Pisces. Jupiter and Sun are friends. So Sun here, this is the biggest moment, the biggest game changer. The 2 weeks of Sun in Pisces, because here, if you were confused or if you were losing yourself, Sun is going to come and say, hold on now, get up, right? If you were confused about what's happening in your relationship, Sun is going to come in and say, hold on, look here, do you see what's happening here? Things are falling apart here. Do you see what's happening over there? Things are falling apart there. You need to clean. You need get up, right? So the best moments are going obviously to be experienced for many of the signs when Sun comes in. Oh my gosh, it's just gonna be a great time, right? The first 2 weeks, lots of complexity. Then when Sun comes in, things start to get better, things start to heal, things start to be clearer. But still, remember, the retrogression will be moving. And then when the Sun And then when Saturn comes in, then all the recklessness will come into, limitations. So Saturn is going to come as well and be like, dudes, you guys have been playing here. You guys have been having lots of fun here. You need to get your things into order, right? When Sun comes in, there's also going to be a high opportunity for a lot of couples to reflect and talk about what has been happening in their relationships, because Venus in retrogression and Mercury in retrogression also bring up old communications, like past hurts or past events that have happened in a relationship, and this is going to be a perfect time to bring those things up and to try to talk about those things, to revisit what has happened, how things went, and what happened between either you or individually as people. So Sun giving that power in Pisces, because here Sun is comfortable, it's not in a weird position. It can heal, even though it's a 12th house situation, but it can help. But it needs to bring out all those hidden things that have been happening within the relationship and talk about it. But they will be clearer, obviously, after these other planets go forward out of the retrogression. But this is the opportunity to start, reflecting and working towards the healing and, discussing things that have been happening in the past. All right. On that note, I must say thank you, and I'll chat to you soon. Have a good month. Ciao.